The champagne glass slipped from my daughter-in-law's hand the moment she hit the floor. Jessica's mother, Helen, was convulsing on my marble kitchen floor, foam collecting at the corners of her mouth. And all I could think was, well, that wasn't supposed to happen to her. Let me take you back a couple of hours before that chaos unfolded. My name is Sarah, and at 70 years old, I've built an empire in the cutthroat world of corporate consulting. I've stared down boardrooms full of sharks, negotiated deals that could make or break fortunes, and come out on top every time. So when I finally decided to retire, selling my firm for a cool $23 million, I thought I'd earned a peaceful send-off. My son Michael and his wife Jessica insisted on throwing me a retirement party at my house. It was supposed to be a celebration with close family and a few old friends, nothing too fancy, just champagne, laughter, and toasts to my success. The evening started off beautifully. The living room was filled with the hum of conversations, the clink of glasses, and that warm glow from string lights Jessica had hung up. Michael was beaming, telling everyone how proud he was of his old mom. Jessica played the perfect hostess, flitting around with trays of hors d'oeuvres and refilling drinks. But something felt off from the start. Jessica kept glancing at me with this forced smile, like she was hiding a secret. I brushed it off at first, maybe wedding jitters lingering or something mundane. Then came the toast. Jessica handed me my favorite champagne flute, the one with a tiny chip on the rim that I'd used for years. It was filled to the brim with bubbly. But as she turned away, I caught her reflection in the window. She was fidgeting with a small vial, pouring a clear liquid into another glass. No, wait, she was adding it to mine earlier when I wasn't looking. My heart skipped a beat. In my line of work, I've learned to trust my instincts, and they were screaming foul play. I didn't panic. Instead, I excused myself to the kitchen, pretending to grab more ice. Helen, Jessica's mother, was there chatting with a guest, her own glass sitting unattended on the counter. It looked identical to mine. With a quick switch, my chipped glass for hers, I returned to the party, heart pounding but face calm. No one noticed a thing. The toast went on. We all raised our glasses. Helen took a big sip from what was now my tainted drink. At first, nothing happened. Then, her face went pale. She clutched her throat, gasping, and collapsed right there in the kitchen. Screams erupted. Jessica dropped everything and rushed over, yelling for someone to call an ambulance. Michael froze, his eyes wide with shock. As the paramedics arrived and loaded Helen onto a stretcher, I stood back, watching Jessica's performance. Her tears seemed real, but there was something rehearsed about her hysteria. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed it, acute poisoning. Some kind of plant extract, they said, oleander, highly toxic, could stop a heart in minutes if dosed right. Helen was lucky, they caught it in time and stabilized her. But as I sat in that sterile waiting room, piecing it together, I knew this wasn't an accident. That vial was meant for me. Why? Money, probably. My fortune was no secret, and Michael had been hinting at financial troubles lately. Jessica must have thought slipping something in my drink would make it look like a natural heart attack for an old lady like me. I didn't confront them right away. No, I've played this game too long for that. Instead, I smiled through the worry, patted Jessica's hand, and said we'd get through this as a family. But inside, my mind was racing. Who else was in on it? And how could I turn the tables without them suspecting a thing? The next few days were a blur of hospital visits and whispered conversations. Helen pulled through, thank goodness, but she was weak and confused, mumbling about how the champagne tasted bitter. The police got involved briefly, calling it a possible contamination issue from the caterer, but I knew better. I kept my suspicions close, acting the concerned mother-in-law while my brain worked overtime. Back home, I couldn't shake the image of Jessica with that vial. I started digging quietly. First, I checked my security cameras. Yes, I have them everywhere, a habit from my business days. There it was, clear as day, Jessica in the kitchen before the party, glancing around nervously before dripping the liquid into my chipped glass. She even tested it with a finger, nodding like she was satisfied. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing, it was planned. I confided in no one at first, but I needed allies. I called my old attorney, David Hartwell, a shark in his own right who'd handled my business deals for decades. Over coffee at a quiet cafe, I showed him the footage. His eyes narrowed. "Sarah, this is attempted murder. We need to go to the police." But I shook my head. Not yet. I want to know why, and who else is involved. Michael, my own son, might be part of this. David advised me to protect myself legally. We drew up documents proving my mental competency, a full psych eval from a neutral doctor, just in case they tried to paint me as senile. Then, we restructured my estate. I'd always planned to leave most of it to Michael, but now? I cut his share down to a minimal trust, with the bulk going to charities I'd supported for years. If they were after my money, they'd get a nasty surprise. Meanwhile, Michael and Jessica were hovering more than ever. Michael dropped by unannounced, suggesting I consider a retirement community. "Mom, after what happened to Helen, it's clear you're vulnerable here alone. Sunset Manor is top-notch, gated, medical staff on site. And maybe we should talk about power of attorney, just to handle things if you get sick." His voice was smooth, but I saw the greed in his eyes. Jessica nodded along, adding, "We just want what's best for you, Sarah." I played along, feigning interest. "You might be right. Let me think about it." But inside, I was furious. How dare they? I'd raised Michael alone after his father died young, sacrificed everything to give him a good life. And this was how he repaid me? By plotting with his wife to kill me for an early inheritance? To get solid proof, I hired a private investigator, Patricia Klein, an ex-cop with a no-nonsense attitude. She was discreet and thorough. Within a week, she had a report: Michael and Jessica were drowning in debt, credit cards maxed out, a second mortgage on their house, luxury cars they couldn't afford. Jessica had a shopping addiction, and Michael gambled online. But the kicker? Jessica had taken out a life insurance policy on me 6 months ago, naming herself as beneficiary. How? Forged documents, probably. And there were suspicious payments to a psychiatrist, Dr. Richard Steinberg, known for questionable competency evaluations. It all clicked. The poison was step 1, make it look natural. If that failed, declare me incompetent, shove me into a home, and seize control of my assets. Sunset Manor? Patricia dug deeper. It was owned by a shell company linked to Dr. Steinberg. They'd lock me away, drug me up, and drain my fortune. I wasn't going down without a fight. I beefed up my home security, new cameras, alarms, even a panic button linked to the police. And I started laying my trap. I told Michael I'd agree to the move and the power of attorney, but only if we signed everything at my house, with witnesses. He jumped at it, thinking he'd won. Little did they know, I was steps ahead. Patricia coordinated with the detectives, sharing the footage and her findings. The toxicology from Helen's blood matched oleander extract, easy to get from garden plants, untraceable if done right. But they slipped up. As the signing day approached, I felt a mix of anger and sadness. My own family. But I'd survived worse in business. This was just another negotiation, one where I'd come out on top. The day of the signing arrived, crisp and sunny, like the universe was mocking the darkness about to unfold. I set the stage perfectly, my dining room table covered with legal papers, fresh coffee brewing, and hidden cameras rolling. Michael and Jessica showed up right on time, dressed sharply, smiles plastered on their faces. Dr. Steinberg was there too, invited as a witness at their insistence. He carried a briefcase, probably full of fake eval forms to declare me unfit. We sat down, and I played the frail old lady to perfection. "I'm so glad we're doing this," I said, my voice trembling just a bit. "It's time I let you two take care of things." Jessica squeezed my hand, her eyes gleaming. We're family, Sarah. We'll handle everything. Michael nodded, pulling out the power of attorney docs. They were slick, giving them full control over my finances, medical decisions, everything. As Michael explained the clauses, I signed the dummy papers David had prepared, lookalikes that wouldn't hold up in court but bought me time. Dr. Steinberg added his signature, droning on about my declining health. I almost laughed. If only they knew I'd aced that psych eval days ago. Midway through, there was a knock at the door. That must be the notary, I said innocently. But when I opened it, in walked two detectives, badges flashing, followed by Patricia. Jessica's face drained of color. Michael's pen froze midair. Michael Thompson? Jessica Thompson? You're under arrest for attempted murder and conspiracy, the lead detective announced, cuffs ready. Chaos erupted. Jessica screamed, "This is a mistake." Michael stammered, "Mom, what have you done?" The detectives laid it out, the security footage of Jessica poisoning the glass. The toxicology report confirming oleander. The life insurance policy. The payments to Dr. Steinberg, who cracked immediately under questioning, admitting they'd hired him to falsify records. Sunset Manor? A front for isolating victims while families looted estates. It was a full-blown scheme. Jessica broke first, sobbing. It was Michael's idea. He said you'd never give us the money we needed. We were desperate. Michael glared at her. Liar! You bought the poison. Turns out, they'd plotted for months, seeing my retirement as their payday. Helen's collapse was unintended, but it exposed them. I watched as they were led away in handcuffs, feeling a pang for the son I'd lost long ago to greed. Dr. Steinberg was arrested too, for fraud. The police praised my quick thinking with the glass switch, said it saved my life and gave them the evidence they needed. In the quiet aftermath, I sat alone in my house, sipping untainted tea. I'd won, but victory tasted bitter. Family bonds shattered forever. I updated my will one last time, leaving a small fund for Michael's legal fees, out of pity, not love, and the rest to women's shelters and business scholarships for underprivileged kids. No more inheritance traps. Life moved on. I traveled, volunteered, even started mentoring young entrepreneurs. At 70, I felt reborn. The party poison? It didn't kill me, it set me free. And Helen? She recovered fully and divorced her ties to Jessica, becoming an unlikely friend. We laugh about it now over lunch, how one switched glass changed everything. Looking back, that retirement party was meant to be my end, but it became my new beginning. With Michael and Jessica behind bars, her sentenced to 15 years for attempted murder, him to 10 for conspiracy, I finally had peace. The trial was a media circus, headlines screaming about the poisoned heiress plot. I testified calmly, footage playing for the jury, watching their faces harden as the truth unfolded. No remorse from them, just denial until the end. Dr. Steinberg lost his license and got 5 years for his role. Sunset Manor shut down, exposing a ring of similar scams. My story even inspired a documentary, warning seniors about financial abuse. I declined interviews, preferring privacy, but I did speak at elder protection seminars, sharing tips, secure your assets, install cameras, question sudden help from relatives. Financially, I was set. The $23 million grew under smart investments. I donated chunks to causes close to my heart, cancer research for my late husband, education for single moms like I once was. Michael wrote from prison, begging forgiveness, claiming Jessica manipulated him. I didn't respond. Some bridges burned for good. Helen and I bonded over the ordeal. She visited often, bringing homemade pies, joking about her near-death diet. If not for your switch, I'd be pushing daisies, she'd say. We traveled together, to Paris, where we toasted with safe wine, laughing at life's twists. I didn't remarry or seek new family. Instead, I built a network of friends, fellow retirees, young men's. My home, once a potential crime scene, became a hub for gatherings, minus the poison. I took up painting, yoga, even learned salsa dancing. At 75 now, I'm healthier than ever, proving age is no barrier. If you're listening and facing betrayal, remember, you're stronger than you think. Document everything, seek help quietly, and strike back smartly. I switched glasses not out of revenge, but survival. It taught me family isn't blood, it's loyalty. So, here's to second chances. May your toasts be pure, your instincts sharp, and your life full of unexpected wins. Thanks for hearing my story. Stay vigilant out there.